Hey there, everybody. A recent data mine for Pokemon Go has revealed some pretty interesting knowledge, which apparently is 100% true and confirmed as far as we're informed at this point. What I wanted to do is I'm just going to show you basically all the stuff that was data mined, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that I see on here, my thoughts on it. Not all of it is I find very, very interesting. Just some of it I find interesting, and some of it I kind of want to see. I know that they say it's 100% confirmed, but it's the internet, and I personally, I'm just that way. I'm just very cynical, so I'm kind of curious to see what actually comes of all of this. So let's take a look at some of this stuff here. I'm gonna post it here, and then if you look in the links, check the comments or the description. I'm gonna post the link to the full page for it all, but this is basically just everything that you're going to see here. Like I said, I'm going to have the picture up, but I'm not going to run down all of it. So the trainer cap is level 40, which, pretty arbitrary. It's, at this point, we're not going to really matter too much as far as getting that high. It's interesting, though, because other than power leveling your character, the 40 is actually a little irrelevant because of the next couple. The eggs cap at 20, so that if you at level 20, you're going to start hatching your eggs, and that's going to be the highest Pokemon that you get. Obviously, you can hatch them before, you can get some candy and stuff like that, but anything that you start hatching at level 20, that's basically the same strength that you're going to hatch them from now on. Wild Pokemon cap at level 30, which means that things that you catch, even if you get all the way to level 40, which is going to be difficult, they're still going to be as if you caught them at level 30. For those two things, I would probably say I've seen information before about not using your Stardust yet. You don't bother powering things up very much because you're more likely to just capture stronger Pokemon as you go. So it seems like level 20 is probably the good time as far as the eggs go. If you want to wait till level 30, if you're patient enough, if you're not really doing any gyms especially, I would probably wait till level 30 to start really powering up Pokemon that you catch in the wild, with the exception of some things that you just don't normally see. I caught a Magmar, and the Magmar is very weak, but in all this time, I've only ever seen one. So it's not too likely that I'll get another one, but, the longer it takes, the more likely I'm going to catch a more powerful one. So just hang on to that Stardust and, do some power leveling later on. Achievement of above gold, not really interesting. Curveballs and accurate throws help with the capture chance. I think that was kind of assumed at this point. In all honesty, I think it would have been more interesting to find out that had nothing to do with it, because I just feel like it was more obvious, other than just getting points for the nice and the great catch and the curveball just looking cool. I think we all just kind of assumed that you were going to get you have a better capture rate with that. Future incubators reduce the amount of kilometers needed before they hatch with an incubator called distance in the code. I like this idea. I actually like the idea also of different incubators doing different things. I wouldn't mind to see an incubator that would take twice as long, but is more likely to hatch certain Pokemon or stronger Pokemon. If you could max CP if you take a 10k egg and you walk 20k with it. I think that might be a little bit interesting. And as far as the incubators go, I like to use them for the higher Pokemon, for the higher kilometer eggs. If you use 3 10-kilometer eggs in the incubator that breaks 3 times, you basically get 30 kilometers out of it, as opposed to using 3 2k eggs and you only get 6 kilometers out of the incubator before it breaks. So if you had an opportunity to increase the kilometers in order to get stronger Pokemon, it would make those breakable ones even more useful, because now, a 10k egg that takes 20 kilometers, you use 3 of those, now you're getting 60 kilometers out of an incubator, which is very, very useful. Moves have an accuracy and critical rate. Each unique Pokemon has its own capture and flee rate. I find that interesting that they're not shared between, all Pidgeys have the same capture rate. It kind of felt like it was there, but at the same time, it's a little interesting to me. Move damage may go up with trainer level. Pokemon do become harder to catch as you level up. I think any of us who have been playing for a little while and at level 15, we're having Pidgeys that are breaking out of the Pokeballs. I think that was kind of obvious at this point. Mewtwo, Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno are legendary. Mew is mythic. I'm not exactly sure what that means. If that means that it's in the game, but it's labeled as mythic, or if it's not even in the game at all. I'm not really sure. Farfetch'd is out there somewhere, as is Ditto. I was under the impression that we already knew Farfetch'd was out there because they said that it was a Japanese exclusive. I was also under the impression that Ditto was not in the game yet because the rumor was that they were going to use, potentially figure out where to use Ditto as far as mimicking other Pokemon. So I'm interested to see if somebody posts a picture of them finally getting one or what it takes to even catch one. The charge meter is filled 0.5 for each 1 point of damage. It means super effective. That a super effective move that does more damage will charge the special attack faster. That is really important to know. It's really important to know if you do the gym battles. I don't do a whole lot of gym battling. I have a lot of gyms near me, but I don't know. I just don't do the battling that much. To level from 39 to 40 takes 5 million experience, and going from 1 to 40 takes 20 million experience. That means that going from 1 to 40, 1/4 of that is just getting from 39 to 40. I'm going to say that means that we're not going to see a level 40 for a little while. I haven't heard anything about any sort of glitching or anything like that. I have heard some tactics with using your lucky eggs and then basically farming Pidgeys and then just hatching new Pidgeys, evolving Pidgeys into Pidgeotos and just power leveling your character, which does work. I have been storing up Pidgeys, so I tried that today, and in the span of 3 minutes, I got about 6,000 XP, which was helpful for me and maybe jump a level, but I only had 3 Pidgeys and an Rattata and I think a Venomoth or a Venonat that I evolved into a Venomoth. So the next time I do that, I have a bunch of lucky eggs. So the next time I do that, I'm going to have a lot more Pidgeys, which basically just means I got to start doing some walking, or more walking, I should say. Pokemon have a base attack, defense, and stamina. They do not have attack and special attack stats like in a 3DS game. Again, really useful if you're fighting in the gym, but I don't think that we have a way to see those numbers at this point, so it's all just going to be just like it was before, which is trial and error. Dragonite has the strongest base attack for non-legends at 250. Mewtwo has a base attack of 284. Again, these next few are gym stats, so it's really relevant for that. It looks like Moltres has the highest attack. Articuno has the highest defense. Zapdos is almost as high in base attack as Moltres, but is likely lower due to type advantage. Which, that's great for numbers, but we haven't, as far as I know, we haven't actually seen these Pokemon yet, so I am excited to see them, though. I chose my team, and I am Team Valor, but I like Zapdos the best, so that kind of made the choice difficult for me. So I'm interested to see when they finally make it to the game. I kind of figured that because they are the team mascots, that they would have some sort of special event where there would be a time period or an event where they're available, and then maybe you could only catch the one for the team that you chose. I think that would actually make the most sense, because it would seem a little weird right off the bat for any team to catch any Pokemon, any legendary bird, when the legendary birds are very blatantly tied to the specific teams. Pokemon have an evolutionary modifier and an HP modifier. When they evolve, both CP and HP go up in a set multiplier. I'm assuming that was kind of semi-obvious. I know at this point, when I power them up, they're getting 29, 29 CP, and I think maybe 2 or 3 health, and that's very consistent. So it didn't seem very random to me. Defending Pokemon at a gym, attack every 1.5 seconds. The Master Ball is in the game, no clue where it is found. So that's interesting to me, that it could be in the game. It could possibly be tied to a specific Pokestop somewhere. Maybe there's a random Pokestop somewhere that you spin it and it will give you a Master Ball, and no one's run it yet. So I'm interested to see if there's a way to find out if there is a number counter of every Pokestop and how many times it's been hit. If there's a way to search and see if there are some that have never been hit. Because if it's in the game and no clue where it's found, theoretically it could be out there already, and literally no one has spun that Pokestop yet. Legendary Pokemon do have a spawn rate, but they have no capture rate. Could this mean they require a Master Ball? Very likely. I wonder about I don't know too much about programming, so I don't know as far as a spawn rate. As far as availability, because there could be programming in there for a spawn rate, but then they haven't been unlocked yet. And then once they push that button that unlocks them, then the spawn rate counter will start going up. It'll start spawning them in different places. So I'm wondering if you won't even need a Master Ball. They just haven't pushed the button to activate them yet. And then once they do, then they'll spawn once a day, every 10 miles or something like that. And finally, Stab is present in the game, which is same type attack bonus. So like it says, if a grass Pokemon uses a grass move, it'll hit harder than if a ground Pokemon used the same grass move. Again, this is a combat issue. So if you're not doing the battling, it's not really relevant to you. To me, I actually really like this. I think it makes a lot of sense that something like that works. It's one of those things that seems like it could be common sense, but for all we know, as far as programming goes, they probably didn't even do it. So it's nice to know that they did actually do something like that. So it makes it a little more worthwhile. It also works against people who unfortunately were a little bit like me, where I had, for instance, a Gyarados, and I would like to give him moves that would help. Gyarados is water, so he's weak against lightning. So then, if at all possible, I'd like to give him something that would hurt an electric type monster or Pokemon, so that when somebody tried to come after me to target my weakness, I had something to target their weakness. But now my move won't work as well, because it's that kind of move against I'm a water Pokemon using a different kind of move. So I like to see that that's there. I like to see that there is some strategy and some consideration being given to the specifics of combat. And I'm wondering, especially when they open up trainer to trainer battles, that's going to absolutely play a much bigger role. And I'm very interested to see what happens there. But we're at the end of the list. Again, check the description, and there's going to be a link to all of this here, which is this is everything here. There's another little section in the bottom that just says that this is all 100% confirmed. But that's going to be it for today. So take it easy, guys. Have a good night. Be safe out there when you're walking around collecting your Pokemon, and have a good night and happy gaming.